you already know which team's gonna win. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, it is finally time to talk about the next Battle of the Bands readathon that I am once again going to be a team leader for, and this is being hosted, of course, on Jake the Bookish Drummer's Discord, and I'm really excited. So I've had a lot of fun with these, and managed to come out with the surprise underdog win in the last one, and so I'm very excited to continue, and I will be team leader of Team 90s, which of course is going to win with it as well. So very excited to announce. I will have a link down to Jake's Discord where you can go to sign up if you want to join and be on the best team or one of the other teams, I guess. But yeah, gonna be a lot of fun, and so it's also time to do a TBR video. First one I've done in quite a while, because specifically what I'm going to be reading for the prompts. As always, these are somewhat subject to change. I'm actually filming this quite ahead of time and just not releasing it until closer. So some of this could change for sure, but it should be accurate, hopefully, by the time we get there. And with no further ado, let's jump in and talk about it. So first off, we have the 70s, and the idea here is this is all one-hit wonders is the theme for this one. So Battle of the Bands one-hit wonders, and we have different decades, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. 5 prompts per decade with a one-hit wonder song in there. Yeah, let's talk. So we're starting off strong with a song that I do absolutely love, which is Play That Funky Music. It's by Wild Cherry. So Play That Funky Music is the first prompt, and it's a book with a weird or funky cover. Went with Debunked by Dido Abbott, which I definitely think fits, and probably weird and funky on the inside too, but there's all kinds of stuff going on here. One I meant to get to for a while, so excited to get to that one as well. And then we have Hooked on a Feeling, which is immediately binge the next book in a series. So this is where some of these I have bind-ups of, and I'm going to be doing multiple. So what I'm using for this is Abhorsen, which is the third book in the Abhorsen Chronicles. This is originally was a trilogy. It's also sometimes I think called the Old Kingdom trilogy, I think, of Sabriel, Lirael, and Abhorsen, and so that's how I'm treating it. I have this bind-up. So Abhorsen is actually book 3, and the other 2 are going to be included here. We'll get to. So I'm going to leave this one out because we'll be revisiting that one again. And then we have American Pie, a book by a popular American author. So for this one, is one of the very few here that I don't have physically because I'm still focusing on physical books here as well. I decided to finally do The Arithmetist by Brandon Sanderson. It's one of the few things I haven't read from him. I know this one's a little bit more younger, middle grade, and I haven't read like his, the librarians, Alcatraz, those. I haven't read those, but I always meant to at least give this one a shot, so I figured, hey, probably be a quicker read, and going with that one here as well, because I can get it from my library. So yeah, we have The Arithmetist there. Then we have Stuck in the Middle with You, which is a middle book, or the second book in a trilogy, and so that's going to be, we're going backwards order, Lirael, I don't actually know how to say it, in the Abhorsen trilogy as well. So once again, sticking with this, I don't know, I've meant to read for quite a long time, and when I was able to actually fit getting all 3 of these in the same month, I'm like, that's pretty good. I like that, how that worked out and fit. So yeah, so we have that book going in there. And then finishing out the 70s, we have Blinded by the Light, a book with a character who's blinded by their ambition. And for that, I'm breaking out another bind-up, which is the Chronicles of Amber, and doing the first here, which is Nine Princes in Amber, which I've confirmed from the description it sounded like that was going to be the case, and I've confirmed definitely his character blinded by their ambition. And I've been meaning to try out Amber for quite a while. So depending on how I feel about this too, I might try to throw some of these others into some other prompts. But right now I just have that first one in that prompt there. Then we have, moving on to the 80s, a lot of fantastic one-hit wonders there as well. Here too, the first one is Take On Me, which is a book that you are scared to take on. So I thought about this because for the most part, I don't have anything that I'm like super like, oh, I don't want to take on. But the one I've been kind of nervous of is The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin, because I know this is like a classic, like this is the 50th anniversary version, but I also have heard a lot of people who absolutely hate this and the way that it's written and say that it hasn't really aged the best. And so I don't know how I'm going to feel, and I wanted to try it for a while, but I've been kind of scared because I don't want to hate it. And so I've decided we're going to pop this on here for that prompt there and finally give it a shot. And then we have A Maniac, it's one of the more covered one-hit wonders. A book you can binge in 1 or 2 sittings. So for this, I decided to throw in Swords Against Death by Fritz Leiber. This is technically set book 2 in Fafhrd the Grey Mouser, but I've been told you're supposed to read this one first. And it's pretty short. It's under 200 pages. I don't have a lot of books shorter than that. It has to be at least 150 for this, so I could probably definitely finish that in 1 or 2 sittings. So we have that there. Next up is Never Gonna Give You Up, and the prompt here is fun. It's a Rickroll. You're supposed to roll a die to determine the length of your next read. So you can get 1 through 6, and depending on what you get, that depends how long it is. I, of course, so you know I wasn't cheating. I was actually going to do this on camera, but I ended up getting a 6, which is, you know, the longest you can possibly get, so it has to be 400 plus pages. I normally try and stick to a little bit shorter for Readathon, but I actually had been reminded that I had agreed to a buddy read in April. Have I not at this point actually said this is coming in April? It'll be in the description, but this is for April. Oh boy. But I'd agreed to a buddy read of Dawn of Wonder, The Awakening, Book 1 by Jonathan Renshaw, and this is a chonker. This thing is almost 700 pages. So yeah, this is going to be, I plan to read this anyway, and so that's going to make it a little bit more challenging. Of course, something in there that long, but we'll see how it goes, and it had to be pretty decently long anyway. And then the Safety Dance, such a great song. A book that is a safe bet that you will enjoy. So for this one, I decided, because I keep not getting to more Tad Williams, why not? We'll throw on The Heart of What Was Lost. This is like the prequel to The Witchwood Crown, which is the return to Austin Ard, the last King of Austin Ard series. And I kept telling myself I was going to do Shadow March first, but maybe I'll just do this, jump in, and it's been way too long since I've done any Tad Williams. So that finishes out the... Oh, no, it does not, actually. We have Don't You Forget About Me, which I almost forgot about, ironically. But a book you wanted to read a long time ago, but still haven't. And that's where we finally get Sabriel, the first book in this trilogy. Because, literally, I still remember... Sabriel is something that my elementary middle school library had, and I read everything there. I was always interested. I read one of Garth Nix's other series. I never read Sabriel. I don't know why. Always meant to, never did. So really long time, longer than almost anything else could be. So it was a perfect time to start this. And then I ended up finding where to fit the next 2 books too in there. So yeah, all worked out. So that finishes out the 80s. Moving on to the 90s, which is of course the best team because it's the one that I am team leader for. The first book is You Can't Touch This, a book you don't own physically. So obviously this was going to have to be not focusing on a physical read, but I figured this would be a good time to finally get to The Iron Crown by L.L. McCree. I meant to read this for quite a while, and it's on Scribd, so it works out. Also, I have an ebook as well, now that I think about it, so I can probably do both formats, though. So yeah, so that's one I meant to get to. Andrew from Andrew's Wizardly Reads had recommended, and so yeah, been meaning to get to that a while, and figured that's a good time to slot it in. Then we have Jump Around, a book with multiple POVs or multiple timelines, and so I decided to go with The Bloodstones by Tori Tekken because I've been really excited to get to this as well, and I know this has multiple POVs, and so I'm very excited to get to this as well. And this is not terribly long either. It's not the shortest book, but I'm excited. It's going to be interesting. I have a lot of really a lot of longer books than I normally do for readathons in here, but so much stuff I'm excited to get to, so we will see there. So we have that one. And then we have Cotton Eye Joe, which is a book with redneck western or country vibes of some sort, which this is one where I almost tried to overrule, let's not include this, but honestly there's so much fantasy western stuff these days, it's a pretty good prompt. So I decided to go with Of Honey and Wildfires, which I know is supposed to be kind of a western type of thing, I believe, and so I figured that was a good spot to finally throw this in because this has also been one that I meant to get to for quite a long time, so we threw that one in there as well. Then we have Tub Thumping, or I Get Knocked Down, a book with a redemption story or a persistent character, and that one I went with one of the very few others that I don't actually have physically here, which is The Aching God by Mike Schell, because Andrew had recommended me so long ago, and I've had the ebook for forever. It's the second oldest thing on my Amazon wish list. I went and looked because if I don't have a physical copy, I usually don't have a good reminder to read it. So it's been forever. So I figure I can finally do that one and finally read it. So since I have that ebook and go from there. So yeah, we added that one to the list as well. And then we have the final book in a series, or the final book in an author's backlist. And so I have one more actually to read before this, because it's a collection of short work. But by this time, The Master of White Storm by Janny Wirtz is going to be the last book in Janny's backlist that I have that I need to get to. So very excited to get to this one as well. I feel like it's been like I've really enjoyed reading her backlist of stuff, and it's been really great. And so I'm excited to read it. And then though, once I have finished this, I'll have finished everything that she's written so far, and so I'll have to wait for more new stuff, which I'll be very excited for. But yeah, bittersweet moment there, but that one we have in there as well. So that finishes out the 90s. All we have left is the 2000s, starting with Who Let the Dogs Out, which is a popular book you don't understand the hype for. And so because I was trying to focus on stuff that I actually own and might like, I decided I was trying to figure out this, so I ended up going with Fireborn by Rosaria Munda, because I remember this was hyped, and I know it's dragons, and I know it's also YA, and usually I read books like that, and I don't really end up getting the hype, but I know this one was supposed to be really good, so I'm like, you know what, let's try it finally. I've had this for a really long time as well, and we'll see if the hype is justified, or if it ends up I don't like it very much, which is entirely possible. We have then Smooth Criminal, a book featuring a heist or an assassin. For this one, I'm going with The Moonsteel Crown, because, this is by Stephen Dees. This is one where I know there's very specifically a heist, and I read the first chapter of this, and it seemed really fun in one of my first chapter videos, so this was a good excuse to get to it. And then we had Random TBR Pick, where you use some sort of randomizer or something to pick something randomly, and I ended up getting, out of like 1 to 389, it picked 12 on Random Warp, which was going to be an author whose first name starts with A, because that's the way the list goes. So we have the Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart, was book 12 on my physical book list. And so that is the one we have, which I kind of forgot I had this, actually. But I remember I did the first chapter of this in the first chapter video as well. It was kind of interesting. I wasn't entirely sure how I felt about it. But this is one, too, where I tried the first chapter, and obviously I kept it. So it wasn't one that I'm just like, I'm on a haul. So I definitely need to give it a shot. And so we have that there. Then we have Bad Day, a book featuring a character who's having a bad day or a bad time of it. That very unfortunately fits Child of Flame by Kate Elliott, which is a chonker. This one, though, I've been doing audio for my reread of. I love this book so much. I've commented before, this book reminds me of how Robin Hobb would write it. It's a very Robin Hobb-esque book, which means characters definitely having a very bad time, but I love this book so much, so I'm very excited for that one, too, to continue with book 4 of Crown of Stars by Kate Elliott. Really excited there. And then Sandstorm, a book featuring a desert setting. So I decided another book I read the first chapter of, making an appearance here, The Dragon's Legacy. I don't know what legacy, but that's apparently what I want to say. The Dragon's Legacy by Deborah Wolfe. And this, I did the first chapter of, and it was just beautiful. I really liked what I read from the first chapter. So it's another one that I've been meaning to get to and try the whole book. And yeah, so that is it. As you see, I've got some longer ones in here and some shorter ones in here, and I have a lot more physical. I usually try to do a good amount of mixing formats. Now, a lot of these physical books, I also either have an ebook or audio, or like I can get it from like my library or Scribd or something like that kind of thing, because I'm going to try to definitely do multiple formats to get through things quickly and read as much as possible, because obviously the goal is always to finish. Although I don't know if I'll finish all of these in a month, so we will have to see. But a lot of stuff I'm excited to get to. A lot of stuff I've been needing to get to for quite some time, so I figured it's a good time to commit to some stuff like that. And so yeah, I'm excited to go through, to read these books, and to be the best team in the Battle of the Bands One Hit Wonders Readathon. So definitely check it out. Like I said, link in the description to join, and hope to see you there. That's it for this one. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the link in the description. As always, for the Wizard of the Enclave Discord, as well as Jake's Discord, where this is going to be hosted. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.